Welcome to episode 204 of Build Your House Yourself University by BYHYU. I'm your host and fellow student, Michelle Nelson, and together we'll learn the basics of home design and construction and demystify the building process so we can make smart decisions and build quality dream homes with or without a general contractor. This week, we have the second half of our list of design tips that should help us start thinking through the interior decor of each room of our home. Last week, we talked about some of the first things we should consider when starting a room design. I suggest you take a listen to last week's episode if you haven't already, because we discussed some foundational design guidelines that'll help you know where to start decorating a room or house. Knowing where to begin is sometimes the hardest part of choosing your decor. If we can figure out our starting point, the rest of the design will often fall right into place. Here's a quick summary of last week. Function first. For each room in the house, start by thinking about its function. What do you want to do in the room? What activities will take place there? Definitely make sure that the hardest working, most often used pieces in the room will work well with the function of the room. In the bedroom, the most used piece is often the bed. In the family room, it's the sofa. In the bathroom, it could be the countertop material. And in the kitchen, maybe the appliances. When making selections for a room, the pieces you select for your design, especially the hardest working pieces, should allow you to easily perform the functions and activities you have planned for the space. Second is focal point, the starring feature of the room. Look for a favorite color scheme, tile, wallpaper, piece of artwork, rug, or piece of furniture that you want to be the main attention getter for the room. Then let all the other pieces in the room be the supporting cast for the focal point. Another thing to consider when designing a space is the feeling that you want the room to evoke. Let that feeling guide your decorating. Search for a focal point and supporting pieces that will give you the feeling you're after, whether that's relaxed, focused, or happy. Finally, all rooms should be sophisticated. Not every single piece in the room has to be sophisticated, but the overall design should have a level of sophistication. We learned last week that even casual or whimsical rooms can also be sophisticated and refined. Ideally, you want the function, focal point, and feeling to all work together. Obviously, different rooms will have different functions, focal points, and feelings, so it's best to design one room at a time. This week's tips will help you pull all your different room designs together to give your house some cohesion and flow. We'll also cover scale, color and contrast, and how to decide what you like if your Pinterest boards seem to be all over the place. Last week, we went over tips 1 through 4. So let's start this week with tip number 5. Number 5, repeat design elements. One way to add sophistication, interest, and a sense of continuity and cohesion to your house is to choose a color or two, a shape, a pattern, or a material that you put in almost every room of the house. Create flow from one room to the next by visually linking the spaces with these repeating design elements. Carry that repeated visual element from one room to another. The color could be a neutral like black, or a bold color like teal, or a combination of the two. Put at least a small amount of those colors in each room, even if you add additional colors to the room. You could use teal throw pillows in one room and drapes with teal in another, or choose artwork or a shower curtain with teal in other areas of the house. Maybe a circular shape is the design repeat you decide on. Put circular mirrors in your bathrooms or scatter rounded areas throughout your house like round tables, circular lamps, clocks, circular vases, or trays. You could choose to repeat a material such as black metal or matte brass. Now, that doesn't mean that all the metal in the entire house needs to be black or brass. Some designers subscribe to the idea that keeping all the metal finishes in a house the same is a good idea. And you can do that if that's what you like. But the idea that all metals in a house or even in a single room need to match is kind of old-fashioned and a traditional way of thinking. If you like the idea of mixing metals in a room, like I do, make the mixture look intentional. To do that, choose 2 to 3 metal finishes per room and use those finishes at least 2 to 3 times within the space. In a bathroom, for example, maybe you'll choose a matte brass sink faucet and cabinet hardware. You can pair that brass with a nickel light fixture, nickel tub faucet, and nickel mirror. That way, each metal finish has a coordinating partner, and the metal mixture looks well thought out and not haphazard. Okay, so a metal finish could be your repeated element throughout the house. Or you could choose other materials like leather, wood, pottery, or mercury glass. Now, don't go overboard. You want these repeating design elements to be special moments, little winks and nods to those who have a good sense of style and attention to detail. These visual repeats will make your house feel coordinated and cohesive, but rooms shouldn't be too matchy-matchy. For example, a large round mirror and a couple of round lamps will probably be enough in a smaller room. You can add a couple of more round items in a larger room, but everything in the room shouldn't be round or curved. Number 6, look for common threads. If you're having trouble figuring out exactly what styles and design elements you like, think about features that you're repeatedly attracted to that pop up over and over again. Review all the photos that you've saved from magazines, Pinterest, Instagram, and House, and look for styles, types of furnishings, color palettes, patterns, and materials that occur repeatedly. Are you drawn to sleek, clean lines or more ornate, intricate design? Do you prefer rooms with all neutrals, lots of bold color, or mostly neutrals with pops of color? Does bold pattern like broad stripes or tone-on-tone texture typically catch your eye? Do you like an all-white kitchen or one with stained wood or colored cabinets? Or do you like kitchens with a mix of cabinetry? Does every inspirational picture for your master bedroom include a 4-poster bed or an oversized chair? Look for the commonalities in your photos and let those repeating characteristics guide you and your design choices. Number 7, variation and contrast. Try not to put too much of one element in one room. Adding variation and contrast makes a room feel visually interesting. You don't want most of the elements in a room to be stained wood, for example. It might look like a wood factory. If you have stained wood bedside tables and a stained wood floor, consider adding an upholstered or metal headboard and a rug that's not brown that will add contrast and break up all that brown wood. All white kitchens and bathrooms are definitely classic, but it's much more interesting and currently on trend to add some stained wood or colored cabinetry to that white cabinetry that you love. Or choose a contrasting neutral or colorful tile to the backsplash or floor. Choosing 2 to 3 main colors, that doesn't count accent colors, and several different materials in each space gives eye-catching variation. Those 2 to 3 main colors can be neutrals if you want, or they can be 3 bolder colors. A monochromatic room where everything is the same color is not a common design aesthetic, but it can make a statement. That kind of room can evoke either a calm, moody, or dramatic feeling. But if you decide to go monochromatic, you'll have to add different textures or tone-on-tone pattern to avoid a flat, boring space. Adding different levels of sheen and texture is another trick for adding variation to a room. You don't want all your accessories and surfaces to be shiny and smooth. Some should be shiny, some should be matte, some should be smooth, and some textured. In addition to having various colors, sheens, textures, and materials in a room, include different heights to give a sense of dimension and balance. If your bed and nightstands are low, consider adding a tall chest of drawers, a tall floor lamp, or a high-backed chair to balance things out. Number 8, go big or go home. Although you want the scale of your pieces to vary, particularly in height, what you don't want to do is use furniture and lighting fixtures, bookcases, and accessories that are too small. Furnishing a room with a lot of small pieces instead of choosing a few large statement items can make a space look and feel cluttered, disorderly, and less expensive. When in doubt, choose furniture, fixtures, and accessories that are oversized as opposed to pieces that are too small. For example, go for 2 large lighting fixtures over your kitchen island instead of 4 or 5 tiny pendants. Select a larger sofa or sectional and 1 or 2 larger chairs for the living room instead of a small sofa, a small love seat, and 3 small chairs. Same is true with artwork. 2 to 3 large striking pieces are much more sophisticated than cluttering your walls with 6 to 8 small pieces that can't even be appreciated if you're more than a couple of feet away. Even if you're doing a gallery wall, choose medium-sized to large photos and art pieces instead of a bunch of small items. If you have a small photo that you want to include, bulk it up with a large, impressive mat. Number 9, use your current home as a point of reflection. Think about the rooms in your current house and how you like living in them. What works well and what needs to be changed? Do you wish you had a larger bedside table with more drawers? Would you like a darker, cozier wall color in your bedroom? Does your dining room feel too formal for the type of entertaining you usually do? Do you love the way your bedroom rug feels on your bare feet? Take what works and put those features in your new house. Then change the things that you dislike so living in your new house will be more enjoyable. Make a written or mental list of all the decor features in your current house and figure out which should stay and which should go. Life is too short to live with things or decor that don't work for you, especially after going through the expense and effort of building a new house. Number 10, be prepared. Have an electronic or paper copy of your house plan with room dimensions with you at all times. In addition, keep photos and measurements of furniture pieces that you've already selected. That way, if you come across items in a store or online that you like, you'll be able to assess whether they'll work for your space. Always check the dimensions of your room before committing to buying something. Designers often do a schematic layout of a room to make sure everything fits together before making purchases. You can do the same thing. Plan your furniture layout using graph paper or an online furniture layout program. Resist overcrowding a room by leaving at least 3 feet of walking space between furniture pieces. To make sure colors of different items coordinate, carry a collection of swatches and paint samples around with you in an envelope, Ziploc bag, or notebook sleeve for reference. Have a separate sleeve and envelope for each room of the house. Number 11, design in phases if necessary. If you can't afford to decorate your entire house at once, do it in phases. Start with the rooms you'll most often use, so you'll be as comfortable as possible until you're able to completely furnish and decorate the house. For most people, that will be the master bedroom, kitchen, or living room. The living room and kitchen are good places to start your design if you need to decorate in phases, because the entire household can use those spaces and you can share them with friends and extended family. Number 12, choose your favorite colors. Many designers have very specific color rules. They say you shouldn't choose all neutrals or all warm colors or all bright colors. I say choose the colors that you like, the colors that give you the feeling you want to experience in certain rooms. For example, blue is typically thought of as a relaxing color, and most people want to relax in their bedrooms. But if you don't like blue, blue could make you more irritated than relaxed. So you shouldn't use too much blue in your bedroom. A warning, though, about using too many wall colors. If you have 15 paint colors that you want to use throughout your house, you can do it. But painting each room in your house a different color is very 1999. You may want to rethink using a dozen different wall colors in your new house. Instead, consider sticking to 1 to 3 main wall colors throughout your house and maybe vary the shades of those main wall colors to add more variety if you want. If you found a blue-gray color that you like, for example, you can choose different hues of that same blue-gray, a light hue, a medium hue, and a dark hue of that same blue-gray. you can paint different rooms with 3 different shades of that blue-gray color, and that will count as just one color. An easy way to choose different hues of the same color is to select a paint sample card from the paint store and use the different hues from the same card. Again, that would count as one color. Limiting your wall colors to 3 main colors adds a level of sophistication and cohesion. You might also want to add a 4th surprise or statement color to a dramatic or whimsical space like a child's room or a powder room. Okay, so that specifically was wall color. Now, what about the colors for furnishings, artwork, accessories, drapes, and rugs? Those elements should coordinate with each other and with whatever focal point and feeling you want to choose for the space. You don't have to stick with 3 main colors for your furnishings and accessories like is suggested with the wall color. If you like a colorful house, then choose lots of colors for your furnishings and accessories. Just make sure those color combinations are sophisticated. But if you're someone who likes the entire house to be very cohesive and coordinated, like many model houses are, you can use the same 3 main colors throughout the entire house and simply change the proportion of each color in different rooms. A well-known color rule that you could use is the 60-30-10 rule. It's a classic decor guideline that helps to create a color palette for a space or an entire house. It states that 60% of a room or space should be a dominant color, 30% should be a secondary color, and the last 10% should be an accent color. Some designers say neutrals should not be included in those 3 colors, but it's your house. So in my opinion, the colors can be all neutrals if that's what appeals to you, or all bold colors, or a mixture of the 2. Here's an example of a very coordinated house. If the 3 colors you want to use are taupe, navy, and coral, you can decorate your living room with 60% taupe, 30% navy, and 10% coral. Then design a bedroom with 60% coral, 30% taupe, and 10% navy. And your powder room could be 60% navy, 30% coral, and 10% taupe. To be clear, you do not have to use the same furniture and accessory colors throughout your entire house if you like more variety. And even though it's a commonly used rule in decorating, you don't even have to use the 60-30-10 rule in each room of the house at all. Use the colors that appeal to you and that make you enjoy your space. And that sentiment brings me to my last tip. Number 13, do what you like. It's your house. So first and foremost, it should appeal to you and your family, no matter what designers say. Designers, design rules, and trends are great for giving us direction, but ultimately, you should design your home for your taste. And if some of the tips that I've given over the last 2 episodes don't resonate with you, don't use them. If you like small furniture pieces and tiny lighting fixtures, if you want to paint your house with 15 different wall colors, and if you like your house to feel a bit cluttered and chaotic, it's your house, your money, and therefore your choice. Decorate your home with colors and items that will make your space feel like you. Don't be afraid to include decor that reflects your personality and taste. And what about trends? Should we stay away from them or embrace them? Well, a trend is defined as what's hip or popular at a certain point in time. A trend may be, or it may become, a classic, long-lasting design element, like white kitchen cabinets. This is a trend that is both current and classic. Or a trend may only last for a few years, like those sponge-painted walls from the late 90s and early 2000s. Truth is, we can't be sure which design trends will have staying power and which ones will go out of style in a few years. I thought matte brass, which I love, by the way, would be gone by now, but it's still very strong and very on trend. Same with modern linear fireplaces. They're still around. If you love, not just like, but if you love certain trends and you're afraid to include them in your house, be brave. Add those trends that you just can't stop thinking about. If you'll be in your house for at least 8 to 10 years and you're not worried about resale value, Include those trending colors and features that you've been dreaming about, even if they might go out of style. This is especially true if it's a design element that can be changed out fairly easily. The harsh reality is that no matter how classic our home's design is, in 15 or 20 years, we will most likely have to update parts or all of our home in order for it to look current. In addition to that, you may just simply want to switch items out, even if they're still in style. Sometimes you just want something fresh and new. So include colors, fabrics, furniture, fixtures, and features that will make you happy. And don't worry about getting things that will be in style forever, because most things won't be in style forever. Now, it's definitely wise to stick to more classic design for big-ticket items that are built-in or structural. But for other things, choose what you love, even if they might look outdated down the road. By the time those things go out of style, you'll probably be tired of looking at them anyway. If that's the case, sell or donate those outdated things and buy something new. We don't want to waste resources, but we also don't want to feel forever bound to a sofa or chandelier that we love today, but might not love 15 years from now. Let's give ourselves the freedom to choose what we love now and switch things out as trends and our tastes change. Well, I hope these tips help you organize your thoughts about your interior design. If you know someone who's building a house or remodeling and is not using a designer, you can share this episode with them if you think it'll be helpful. You can share it by text or email. And finally, if you're new to the podcast and have listened to episode 100, where I give my favorite home building and design tips, you might wonder if you can still get the PDF of those 100 tips. The answer is yes. After you listen to the show, if you decide you want a copy of those 100 tips, you can just email me at info@BYHYU.com. That's info@BYHYU.com. And then write the number 100 on the subject line. Those tips are still very relevant, and I'm happy to send them your way. Well, that's all I have for you. Stay safe and well. And join me again in a couple of weeks for the next episode of Build Your House Yourself University by BYHYU. Please remember that the purpose of this podcast is simply to educate and inform. It's not a substitute for professional advice. The information that you hear is based only on the opinions, research, and experiences of my guests and myself. That information might be incomplete, it's subject to change, and it may not apply to your project. In addition, building codes and requirements vary from region to region, so always consult a professional about specific recommendations for your home.